And boy, is there a lot going on in the world today. The one of the arguments about how to deal with poverty that's often made by conservatives is that, poverty in the United States is not all that big a deal because even poor people in the United States very often have a telephone or a cell phone or a television or a refrigerator. And, out of the 7+ billion people in the world, probably about 5 billion of them have nothing like that, maybe 6 billion of them. And therefore, we shouldn't worry about it, right? In fact, I don't remember if it was the Koch brothers specifically or Americans for Prosperity or one of their think tanks or one of the, groups that they fund. But they had pushed out this meme about 6 months ago about, in fact, I think it was an article in Reason magazine, which is heavily funded by the Koch network. And which makes my head explode every time I see the Reason guys on TV. Hey, it's a front group for the Kochs. But in any case, the whole point of the article that came out was, why are we worried about poverty in the United States? Poor people in the United States have it really good. So a group of scientists decided to drill into this. Catherine Eden from Johns Hopkins University, Luke Schaefer from the University of Michigan. They put together a book called $2 a Day, an award-winning book on deep poverty in the United States. And now they've got a new working paper out at Michigan's National Poverty Center. This is the University of Michigan. National Poverty Center, it wouldn't be the state of Michigan because that's run by right-wing cranks. But the University of Michigan's National Poverty Center website. And they look at life expectancy, infant mortality, homicide, and incarceration. And it turns out that poor people in the United States have a life expectancy about identical to that of Mexico. Not good. Infant mortality in the United States. They again looked at these groups, and among non-Latino Black Americans, infant mortality rates are only slightly better than in Grenada and worse than Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka is beating us in terms of infant mortality. Homicide, incarceration, same results. We are, for the poorest among us in the United States, and particularly people of color, but, poor people of color. For the poor among us, we rank below all industrialized countries in the world in terms of quality of life. I mean, this is a serious issue. Now, at the same time that we're not spending any money to help poor people in this country, and there was a time when we actually did. I mean, Lyndon Johnson cut poverty in half and laid the ground for not just an African-American middle class, but also in many parts of the country where, there's a lot of poor white people, a white middle class, a stepping stone. I mean, the first big layer that was laid was the GI Bill, but that was unevenly applied since so many colleges would not accept African-American veterans after World War II. And so many African-Americans couldn't make use of GI Bill home loans because they lived in red line neighborhoods, and we were still practicing apartheid in the United States, even if at that point it was de facto rather than de jure. But so that's, we used to build our middle class. Now, instead, we are building our military. And the story comes out, this is in the Fiscal Times. The Pentagon has never completed an audit about how they spend the trillions of dollars on wars, equipment, personnel, housing, healthcare, and procurement. Never. Never. The Defense Finance and Accounting Service, this is an agency, it's based out of Indianapolis. It's supposed to provide finance and accounting services to the Pentagon's military and civilian members. Could not, this from this article in the Fiscal Times, could not provide adequate documentation for $6.5 trillion worth of year-end adjustments to Army General Fund transactions and data. Now, we know $2 trillion is missing. I mean, we've known that for a while. Now it's up to $6.5 trillion. This is like, a third of our national debt. This is nuts. This is just absolutely nuts.
To To watch more clips from our programs, hit the Watch More Videos button over here. And please be sure to hit the handy-dandy subscribe button so you'll always be up to date. Tag, you're it.